Well, joining us now from New York, the filmmaker and author Michael Moore. Michael Moore, how significant do you think these protests are?
I think they're quite significant. I think that this is something that certainly is spreading all over the United States. There are new Occupy movements beginning in towns and cities every day, and now it's spread across the world. It's really touched a nerve. What your correspondent said about that it may seem weird because you have a lot of young people there in the park. It's only weird in the sense that all movements for justice begin with people who are willing to be out there on the edge a bit. Somebody in the feminist movement burned their first bra, and that just shocked everybody, and everybody thought that was weird and crazy. And then we had a feminist movement, and then things got a bit better. And so that's how things go. When women wanted the right to vote 100-some years ago, talk about being weird. I mean, they were completely ostracized. Everybody who starts a movement is talked about in this way, and this is how they're being talked about now. But this is much larger.
In the campaign for women's suffrage, the objective, whatever the mechanism, whatever the methods, the tactics, the objective was to get votes for women. It's unclear in this case what the objective is, what it would take to get the campaign called off. Do you understand what it's for?
Yes, I do. There are a whole bunch of reasons. They all lead back to the greed of an economic system that's built around, in this case, in our country, around Wall Street, and people are fed up. We've got 50 million people in the United States that have no health care. 50 million. We have millions who have lost their homes due to foreclosure. We have 46.2 million now living in poverty. That's at least 13 to 18 million kids every night going to bed malnourished. So you've had millions of people who've been abused by this system, and they've had it. And I think it's enough. Remember, we're just in the first 30 days, 31, 32 days of this movement. It's enough that people have just gotten up off the sofa and gotten involved. It's enough that people have pushed through their despair to say, you know what, I'm not going to just sit by and do nothing. So first you have to get up and move. That's what people have done. We're in that first phase right now. This will grow into something with various political demands to upend this system that has caused so much pain for so many people.
You say upend this system. Is the objective to reform capitalism or to end it?
Depends on who you ask. As far as I'm concerned, it has to be ended. I think it's an evil system, and I'm talking about 21st century capitalism. I don't want to hear a lecture about what Adam Smith intended or whatever. I'm talking about a system now that's set up so that the richest 1% get 40% of the pie. A system where the richest 400 Americans have more wealth than 150 million Americans combined.
But what do you want to replace it with?
In a democracy, what we have to, it's not about replacing it with, something or going back. You see, here's I think what's confusing, especially some people in the media. They're wondering why aren't they participating in the political system the way it's always been done? Well, the way it's always been done has got them here. They aren't interested in that. They're not interested in passing a particular bill in the Senate or having a congressman say the right things to them at this point.
But you've just told us this is going to end up with political change. How are you going to get political change then, if not by political action?
Well, we'll have to see what happens, right? I mean, you just don't know that now because you're watching the birth of a massive worldwide movement against the banks, against Wall Street, against the city. People literally have had it. They're not going to take it anymore, and things are going to happen. We just don't know that now because we're really in the actual birth of this movement.
So what do you imagine will replace capitalism at the end of all this if the movement's successful?
I think what people would like is a democratic economic system. In other words, if we say we live in democracies, we should have economic systems that the people have a say in how these systems are set up, how they're run, and that the pie is divided fairly amongst the citizens, and that those who have more are taxed more so that they have to pull what is their fair share of the weight. That is ultimately what people would hope. When I was a kid, people people weren't mad at rich people, because the rich people, they built the factories, and it was kind of like, okay, well, they gave my dad a job, and now we get to have a house, and we have a car, and the kids get to go to college. That's all gone now, because the rich, there was never really enough for them. They had to keep they wanted more and more. There's just like, enough is the dirtiest word in capitalism. We need an economic system that's fair and just and democratic. That's not what capitalism is now. And I'm afraid the people, this isn't just me saying this, the people have had it, and they want something new, and maybe something new will have to be invented out of this.
What would it take to persuade you that it was not necessary to have this campaign any longer?
You mean why? Yeah. You mean what would it do for me to stop occupying Wall Street?
Yeah.
Well, any of a number of things. A fair tax rate so that the rich pay their fair taxes. Bring back the controls and regulations on Wall Street so they won't be able to do what they did in '08 and before that again. I mean, there's a whole bunch of specifics that I would be happy to see happen, but ultimately, I don't think that. I mean, we have a political system where essentially now our candidates can legally be bought by billionaires. Money has to be completely removed from our political system. And there is a declaration. If you go online to the Occupy Wall Street website, there's a declaration that the General Assembly voted on down there, and you can see 19 or 20 different points that people are concerned about. It's not that people haven't expressed these concerns. It's just that it's not like the old way where it's, let's get somebody elected president. Let's get that bill passed in Congress. We're way beyond that now. We're not into fixing or reforming or tweaking. This is just simply has to end. The way of doing business as we know it has to come to an end.
Michael Moore, thank you. Now,
thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.